is Megan.
And this is Steven.
And this is the Synchrony Podcast, where we talk about transforming apostolic dating culture and ending loneliness in the church.
Yep.
I need you to do something for me.
Oh, boy.
I need you to take a long, loud slurp of coffee into the microphone, and I'll explain why. I believe in you. There you go. Yep, that's good. Great. Great. Perfect. Okay.
Oh, God.
Wow. We go down the wrong hole.
It was just, yeah,
Yeah,
we're
a
good.
lot of coffee. The reason why I had to do that is because one of my favorite people on earth, Sister Sharon Jackson, came up to me in church the other day. And Sister Sharon is one of the sweetest human beings on the planet. Like, she's just immensely kind and just, she's delightful. One of our amazing single ladies. And she came up to me and very sweetly got on to me for getting on to you about slurping your coffee. And she's like, you leave that man alone. Like, she was
Thank
like,
you, Sister Jackson.
coming to your defense. It was so cute. And she's like, he's just the best. I'm like, I agree with you. His slurping is gross, but I agree. He's the best. So anyway, that was for Sister Sharon. Sister Sharon, I love you.
Appreciate you.
Hope you're having a great day if you're listening. Okay, you can't do it the whole podcast though, because I will end up strangling you. Lovingly. Loving. We are back after a brief hiatus.
Yeah.
An unintentionally long hiatus.
It wasn't on purpose. It was, first one was on purpose. Second one was technical difficulties.
Yeah, so we took a week off for Thanksgiving, which was lovely. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. And then we came back and the holidays were crazy and we had a lot of stuff going on. And so I tried to record a solo episode.
Yep.
And broke the audio.
Yeah.
Really badly.
It was weird. OBS did not have fun with it. So we just had to roll with it.
I definitely kind of ruined that. But now I know. Lessons learned.
Yep.
So sorry for taking 2 weeks off. Didn't mean to leave you guys in the lurch. But we're back and we have these nifty lights that you put up.
That's right.
So I feel like it feels like we're podcasting from an ice palace.
I would say I feel very Elsa right now.
Let it go.
Yeah, Lily would be proud.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's very like cool toned.
Okay, you gotta stop looking at the cameras.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'm talking about how it looks. I feel like it's very cool toned and very like, I don't know. It makes it feel like we're somewhere besides like a shed.
Yeah,
nice.
And it less like an asylum.
Very less asylum-y. Yeah, less doctor's exam room.
This is still not the final product of our podcast studio, hopefully, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, one thing at a time.
One step at a time.
Can we just talk?
Sure. I know we had an idea, but you said scrap the idea.
I had 3 ideas, and they're all probably stuff we should talk about. But I just want to kind of like talk through something.
Okay. Which, by the way, this is not a skit. I have no idea what we're talking about.
It's stuff we've talked about before, but I feel like tonight, you didn't have the benefit of being in service tonight because you have been. We're recording this on a Wednesday night at 11:00 p.m.
Yeah.
So recording late on a weeknight. And you are helping our church prep for our Christmas concert that's this weekend,
Yep.
which is like a huge production. Really excited about it. But so you were running around like a chicken with your head cut off, getting all the stuff together for that. So you didn't have the benefit of hearing the sermon tonight, probably as
Was
closely.
it good?
Oh, it was so good. And it convicted me so much. Just, yeah. And the brother who preached, it wasn't pastor.
Yeah.
So we had a visiting minister tonight and he just challenged me in the right way. And I realized that the Lord has been like challenging me about this over the past like couple of weeks. And it's left me feeling really hopeful. And I feel like this is a season where some hope is good.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about that.
All right, let's dive in.
Okay. So first I have to recap for everyone sort of the place I've been in for like the last like month.
Yeah.
I have been in what I am kind of thinking about as like a sackcloth and ashes sort of season.
A bit.
How's that been from your perspective? Like, because you've been sort of like, you've been involved in that, but you've been kind of watching on the sidelines. Like, what's been your take on sort of the vibe, the demeanor of the last month or so?
Um, it's hard because as a husband, you want to never have your wife feel like she doesn't feel understood,
Mm,
right? You want to make sure that like because by not understanding where she is,
mm.
like it can very much be like my husband isn't supporting me.
I've
And
never felt
I've
that.
never, and I know you haven't, but I'm saying it's more of like I can definitely see why
Mm,
you have felt the way you have felt,
mm,
and it makes sense.
mm.
But it felt like I didn't know when it was gonna end.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I think it's been sort of like a season of grief,
Yeah,
really. And the way that this relates to synchrony is, I started feeling this way because I have been looking at, really since we got back from Mexico. So like October,
yeah,
we went to a leadership retreat. Um, and came back, and I came back with so much to think about and so many challenges to my perspective, and started to look really hard at like our process and our data. And I was just left with this reality of how challenging this landscape is. And the thing that really got me is like, I feel like we have a better sense right now of the gender disparity that exists for singles,
yeah,
the number of women we have compared to the number of men, not just in the synchrony pipeline, but across the board. I think we have a better and more robust sense of that now than we have had before. And the reasons why that's there have been weighing so heavily on me. And we've been talking about a lot of this. Like, we've been talking about the reasons why our guys fall away. We've been talking about, the challenges that men face in the church, why it's so important to have male community. I'm not going to rehash all that for you guys. But the result is that I've been doing some digging on the impact of that gender disparity.
yeah,
And I'll spare you the nerdy details, and I'll caveat everything I'm about to say by saying that I am not a demographer. There are people who are actually scientists that study populations, the demographics of a population. So, what I'm about to say is a mixture of partial social science statistics drawn from places where I felt fairly confident in the numbers that I was getting,
yeah,
and talking to AI and having it show me the math that it's using to try to gauge the impact of what we're talking about. So I want you to take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but I'm telling you this not necessarily um to try to give you a fact sheet about it. You shouldn't necessarily treat what I'm about to say as fact, but it is where my mind has been
yeah,
lately. So I did this demographic analysis, and I basically said, okay, we have rough numbers on the proportion of men to women in the church overall, gathered from a handful of years of surveys. And when I say the church overall, right now the numbers I'm talking about are drawn from the North American UPCI. So there are certainly more apostolics in the country than are just in the North American UPCI, but that's the population that I have data on from some surveying that the UPCI has done over the course of its history about the number of churches and the rough percentages of each gender in those churches, right? And this is all publicly accessible reporting that you can go get off of the website. So like, I'm not pulling this out of thin air. But based on rough estimates about the church population overall, right, and what we know from synchrony, we're thinking that there's probably around a 60-40 ratio of women to men in the church overall, married
yeah.
and single.
Estimated, yeah,
Estimated. Rough estimate, right? But what that leaves is this chunk of women who are unable to form partnerships in the church. There aren't enough men for those women to form partnerships. And so I went to, Brother ChatGPT, and I was like, Brother ChatGPT, help me understand what the impact of that would be. So given this rough number of congregates in North America, which we know, and this number of churches that we have, right? And let's make some assumptions that, let's say that our church retains our people better than the average evangelical church. Because in the average evangelical church right now, there's good data about this from Pew and from a bunch of other like well-reputed research organizations, right? In the average evangelical church right now, for every one person who joins the church, 1.8 people leave.
Okay.
So I said, let's cut that number in half. Let's just assume that we're twice as good as at holding on to people as the average evangelical church.
Which is a big assumption.
It's a big assumption,
Yeah.
and I don't know that it's a safe one to make, but I'm giving us the benefit of the doubt. And then I say, let's assume that, that our fertility rate in the church, the number of kids that we are having, is decreasing at the same rate as the fertility rate of the general population in North America, right? There's really good data about what's happening in fertility right now. And evangelicals on average have more kids than the regular population for whatever reason, probably because we get married really young, generally. Asterisk, not everybody. But our fertility rate is declining along with the fertility rate of the larger population, right?
Yeah.
So baking in all these assumptions and assuming a 60-40 ratio of women to men in this population, what's that doing was basically what I asked. Like, what's the impact of that disparity on the church? And what came from that is this number that's representative of a concept called population drag, right? So imagine that a population that's half female and half male, where everyone in that population can form a partnership and create offspring if they want to.
Yeah.
Stay with me. I know this is boring.
This is my 15th time here.
I know your eyes are glazing over. Just hang on. Stay with me.
It's not they're glazing over. It's just 11:30. It's 11 at night.
Drink your coffee. This part's going to get over really quickly. I'll rip the Band-Aid off. So in a population where it's 50% men and 50% women, right? Father, help me. Give me strength.
Love you, Sharon Jackson.
The slurping. Where everyone can form a partnership, right? Where there is enough of each gender for everyone, if they want to form a partnership and produce offspring.
Yeah.
The population will grow at a set rate. And over time, we'll see that population increase.
Yeah.
Right? Population drag is created by limitations on those partnerships, on the number of offspring that can be created within a given population because of a lack of availability of partners.
Yeah.
Right. So that was kind of my question, is how much population drag are we experiencing in the North American UPCI, at least, because of these things? And so Brother ChatGPT took me through a bunch of its calculations, and it was sort of saying, well, if we assume, this rate of fertility decline, if we assume this rate of conversion, right, the average amount of evangelical conversion to the church, if we assume, a very low level of departures from the church compared to the average evangelical church, and we assume this gender disparity, what we end up with is every 2 years, there is a deficit where we should be growing at a certain rate, but we're not. And that deficit amounts to about 40,000 people every 2 years. So for those of you who are not hearing this for the 15th time, if you saw any pictures this year of North American Youth Congress, of the people of the stadium that it was in, huge event, incredible, right? Just people all over the place. About 40,000 people attended that conference. So imagine that every 2 years, that many people who should be a part of the church are not.
Well, ironically, Youth Congress is every 2 years.
Right. So think about it that way, right?
Yeah,
like
every Youth Congress.
Yeah. If we're filling up a stadium of 40,000 people every 2 years for Youth Congress, we're also seeing 40,000 people who should be part of the church who aren't there.
Yeah.
Because of this disparity. And when that visual sank into my heart, like, it's been really hard to get around that.
Yeah. It's been quite a cloud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it was so tangible to me. And again, like, these aren't necessarily people who are coming into the church and leaving, right? It doesn't include that low rate of departures, right? But it's mostly made up of people who are not born in the church.
And this is assuming that we have double the retention rate.
Yeah, this is assuming that we're better than most evangelical churches at keeping people.
Yeah.
And it was just wild to me to envision that. And again, like someone else who's better at this than I am can go check my math, and it might be much less severe than that, right? But that visual of that stadium full of people just disappearing, like Thanos style, just like,
yeah,
like just settled into my mind. And it has been so hard for me to get away from. And I have been so agonized about it, I think. And so that's been like the last month or two of just kind of going like, God, what do we do? Like, because, we've been doing this work now for the last couple of years, and we just sat down with our whole community and had this town hall meeting where we talked about, our success rate, which is relatively low in terms of, if you want to think about success rate as the number of people that we work with who end up in a long-term relationship and eventually get engaged and get married. It ain't most people that we work with. I'm saying this during a sale, so I'm sure everyone's now chomping at the bit to go sign up, but let me give you some more details. It's not where we need it to be.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we have some limiting factors, but yeah.
There's tons of limiting factors, the biggest one being the gender disparity.
Yeah.
And I have just been struggling and kind of going, God, like, how are we supposed to do this? And I am not prideful enough to think that it is our job, your and my job, to fix the male retention problem of the church, right?
Oh. I thought you were talking about replacing the 40,000.
Well, I mean, that's not our job. Like this problem is too big for us.
No, that's a lot of babies.
Yeah, let me also say that the goal of Synchrony is not to produce more babies. Did I ever tell you about this? Is funny.
Wow.
Yeah, we just ping pong ball to a whole different topic. So one time I was actually dating someone at the time who was not you. This was like in high school. And for whatever reason, we ended up eating dinner with a visiting missionary and their family. I don't remember how it happened. Like somehow we got invited to go. I think we were like on the music team and we were just going to go hang out with this family, and we're all at the same restaurant or whatever. So we're sitting with the missionary family, and I don't remember the missionary family's name. I don't remember their story, where they were serving. So this is ideally completely anonymous, right? But they were talking to me and and the guy was in there like, when do you two plan to get married? And we're like, oh, well, we're still in high school, like whatever. And they're like, oh, we thought you were older than that. I'm like, nope. So we've got a few years before we can really like get married or whatever. And he was like, well, marry soon and have lots of children. And we were like, rude, like abrupt. And he was like, because that's how we're going to confront the Islamic world, because they're having more kids than we are. And I was like, I feel like that's not necessarily how we confront the Islamic world.
Outproduce.
Yeah, like I don't think the goal is for us to out baby everybody, right? Like we're not here to preach like, don't use birth control and don't be, you know what I mean? Like that's not, I don't think that's the solution, right? So anyway, I don't want anyone to be listening to this going like, they're just trying to get everybody to have lots of children. Like, no, like even people who get married can choose not to have children for a ton of great reasons. And that's totally fine by us. Right. What this 40,000 people though represents to me are a lack of families, a lack of homes. So it's not necessarily just the people, the children, the offspring that would come from a more balanced set of demographics.
Yeah.
It's the fact that those offspring represent apostolic homes that don't exist and should.
Yeah. And it's also compounding too.
Right. And it builds. And
yeah. So it's 40,000 one year.
Right.
But then in 2 generations, they would be having children.
That's the thing.
And so it's very much compounding.
Right. And over time, if nothing were to change, eventually our losses would catch up to our growth.
Yeah.
Which is what has happened in most evangelical churches in the United States that are older than us.
Yeah.
Right. Older than Oneness Pentecostalism. And
which are most of them.
Yeah. Well, no, there's some fresher ones.
No, I know. Fresher.
Non-denominationals didn't really come onto the scene until
new
recently.
kids on the block.
Yeah, there's some babies out there. But like, to me, those missing apostolic homes, right? Those are dining room tables that will never have a Bible study taught over them.
Yeah.
Right. Those are Sunday school classrooms that will never have that set of teachers. Those are Bible quiz teams that will never be coached. Those are family get-togethers that won't happen where you don't invite friends. Those are church invitations that are missed out on. Those are, because the apostolic home, like that is where the church is built.
Yeah.
That is where the church is generated, from within the home first. It doesn't start in the church building. The church building exists so that the people who are serving God from their homes have a place to come together, you know?
Yeah.
And I was so like convicted about, I'm probably going to cry talking about this. Oh gosh. Okay, hold on. I have to drink some coffee now.
Slurp.
Okay, I'll slurp. Hold on.
There you go.
I'm getting into the spirit of it.
Yeah. ASMR.
Right. Oh. So, and this isn't, I don't mean to tell this story to in any way to my own horn or my family's, right? But so my great grandfather, and my grandmother were kicked out of the church that they were part of for believing in Jesus' name baptism and in the evidence of tongues. And they, came across the truth, I think, at like a tent revival. And then my grandfather mortgaged his home that he was raising his children in. My great grandfather, mortgaged his home that he was raising his children in, to have enough money for the loan to build a church building. And he laid the brick with his hands. He was not a preacher.
Yeah.
He was never a pastor, but he put up the funds to get the church started. And when someone asked him about it later, his response to that was, and it was written down, and like we just did a big history thing about it at our like 75th church anniversary or whatever. His statement was, I want some. Oh. When they asked him about it later, his statement was, I want there to be a place for my grandchildren to go to church. Oh, man. And that was, I guess, 75 plus years ago. And by the grace of God, his children, my grandmother and my mother and I and our kids have all been raised in that truth.
Yeah.
And there's nothing special about being a multi-generational apostolic.
No.
But what a gift to have that legacy. And I am so burdened by the idea that if there had not been an apostolic home in this city first, there would not have been an apostolic church in this city where my great-grandfather's grandchildren and great-grandchildren and now great-great-grandchildren can attend and grow and be developed. And so I'm burdened by this idea that in every 2 years, 40,000 potential apostolics aren't there that should be. So that's been the context of the last month. That's been heavy on me because I don't feel like I have the answers. You've been very patient with me during that time, by the way. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Problem.
I feel like I don't have a
choice. Yeah. Over here falling asleep. No, just kidding.
No, but I mean, like, I know, like I sometimes get kind of caught up in my like existential crises, and like you allow me to talk it through without trying to like, most of the time trying to like fix it,
It's hit or miss. Sometimes I get the hint to not fix it, and sometimes I don't.
You'll be like, how can I best support you?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I'm feeling the itch to tell you a solution, and right. No, it's been easy. It's one of those things that it's hard to get mad at you for you caring too much.
Mm.
Yeah. My concern, I just didn't want you to get stuck.
Yeah, I felt a little stuck.
Yeah.
For a bit, and just very between a rock and a hard place, because like there was nowhere to go with this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know the problem, but I don't have a solution. And then the Lord started to really challenge me. And I feel like there's been like a handful of things that he's brought to my attention to just remind me that he is the one capable of solving this problem.
Yeah.
And that sounds very like basic, but like one of the things we've been talking about so much is like, okay, the root of this, of loneliness, in a lot of ways has to do with the loss of our men, right?
Yeah.
Often when they're very young, before they're at marriageable age. And the Lord brought to my mind, like, hey, in the time of Moses, Pharaoh slaughtered all the male children of the people of Israel,
Yeah.
right? Systematically. And around the birth of Jesus, Herod slaughtered all the firstborn sons, I think, at that time, or maybe all the, I don't know if it was all the male children under 2, I think.
Yeah.
Which is just insane to even think about. And those two things did not prevent God from establishing Israel in the time of Moses. And it did not prevent God from bringing his plan and the Messiah into existence. Like, neither of those things, where the males were literally slaughtered, were enough to prevent his plan from coming to fruition.
Yeah.
So, like, this deficit is not going to stop the church. It's not going to stop God from doing his work in the world or in North America or whatever, you know.
But what's funny is, like, I feel like this isn't just us that's noticing this,
Mm-hmm.
because at first it felt like it was, and which obviously is kind of egotistical. But
yeah, God is only talking to us about
yeah,
this.
yeah.
We are the only ones seeing this problem.
Well, it's funny because it's like, it's the, what is it, reticular activating system in your brain, where it's like, you don't recognize something is there until you like recognize one of them, and then you start looking around and you start seeing them everywhere.
Right, like you're contemplating buying a Honda Odyssey, and then you start noticing everyone who drives a Honda Odyssey.
Yeah, you start like, wow, they're all over the place. Yeah. Well, it's the same concept. Like, we started seeing this and recognizing this issue, and then we started, like, I don't want to say obsessing, but like really narrowing in on it. And because it's
I was pretty obsessive.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's not a bad thing to be obsessed about, or not a bad thing to be praying about or sounding alarms about, because it's something that it needs to be recognized. But at the same time, in a positive way, we started looking around and seeing that there's other people that are passionate about the same things, that are all starting to really pipe up and like sound alarms, and that this needs to be recognized and the conversation needs to be had.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has been cool to see that, just like, we're not the only ones really dwelling on this and praying about this.
Yeah.
And I've just had some great conversations over the last few weeks that have really encouraged me in the idea that, like, other people are taking this to the throne. You know what I mean? And ultimately, like, you know, God's going to do what God's going to do, and he's going to find a way to move this. But I do think that, like, I don't think that saying like God's going to take care of this means that we get a pass on like acting.
Yeah. And now we just sit down on our hands and wait for God to do something.
Right. Because like even in the example of like Israel, you know, during the birth of Moses, like it talks about the midwives of Israel who would save the children effectively, and just, you know, more or less lie to Pharaoh and say, oh, the women were already delivered when we got there. Like, you know, we never saw the baby, like couldn't do anything about it. Sorry, whoops, you know, and would step in to kind of advocate and to be that buffer. And I feel like that's a place that we're kind of trying to step into, right? Like that in some ways is what is the calling, I think, and the burden that's been on us in this thing, but we're not the only ones doing it.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So he challenged me about that. And then tonight we're in church, and our visiting minister who was preaching about the parable of the loaves, not the parable, the miracle of the loaves and the fishes.
Yeah.
Right. And he was preaching about how all these people were out in the wilderness, and they had gone for 3 days without going to get any food. They'd just been sitting there at the feet of Jesus for 3 days, and they were hungry and they were lacking, to the point where if he sent them away, they would faint on their way to go get food. Right. And Jesus says, okay, who here has food? And they're like, well, you know, we've got these 7 loaves and 2 fishes or whatever. And he's like, yeah, cool, bring him to me. And it took action on the part of the people.
Wasn't it 5 loaves and 2 fishes?
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, 5 loaves, 2 fishes.
I was like, something doesn't sound right here.
You're like, wait a minute.
Starting to preach false doctrine.
Sorry, wrong amount of bread.
Yeah.
5
Get
loaves,
it right.
Yeah, 5 loaves, 2 fishes. And so they bring this meager offering, which is what I feel like what we do is sometimes.
Yeah.
Like for every time that we, you know, like for every time that we're able to see a couple connect and go build a home and a life, it's many, many more times that I've sat with someone and I don't have someone for them.
Yeah.
Right. So I feel like our offering sometimes is so meager. It is so small and so pitifully small. Again, I'm not trying to downgrade what we do right before the sale. If you want to
tell that to the 10 people that are about to either have gotten married or about to get married.
Yeah, no,
or 10 couples.
And that's the thing for those folks who have gone through this, their lives have been not to our credit, their lives have been changed. God has worked in that.
And all the babies.
Hold off on that. So, but he was talking about how that tiny meager offering, like the Lord, if he wanted to, could have rained down manna from heaven in that moment and fed everybody.
Yeah.
Right? He could have clapped his hands together and like, I don't know, cake could have like shown up out of the ground or something and just like it'd been fine.
Like the clouds would have been like had like calligraphy of like Jimmy John's fast and like just like
cloudy with a chance of meatballs, like New Testament style, right? Have you seen the second one of that where it's like there's a leak in the boat and the leak is like, ah! It's so good. Sorry.
Oh God, we're getting too tired.
Yeah, kids movies for the win. Anyway, so if he wanted to just like change it, he could have done it.
Yeah.
Right. But instead, he takes this little meager, pitiful, depressingly small offering and starts to multiply it.
Yeah.
In a way that's so subtle that people don't even know how big it is until they count everything up later and they have all these leftovers, right? Suddenly everyone's satisfied. Suddenly there's an abundance out of nothing. And it just reminded me that like we are not in control of how it happens. We're not in control of what he chooses to do with it. We are just in control of handing over the offering.
Yeah.
Of our effort. Of
what we have. Yeah.
Right. Someone had to catch those fish and someone had to bake that bread. And if that's all we can do is take the ingredients that we have and put them together into something and make them available, he will do the rest to his glory. And it won't be because of us. Like it won't be you and me.
Yeah.
We're not going to be at the centerpiece of that. It's going to be him doing it in a way that only he can do. And it just it just like hit me that like it is not our job to solve the problem of the missing 40,000 every 2 years. What?
That was going to be one of my solves in one of our conversations early into the...
Really?
But you weren't ready.
That's true. And this, folks, is the gift of wisdom in just demonstrated.
Yeah, I was about to be like, babe, never mind.
Yeah, no, it's true. But I wasn't ready to listen to it because I felt so.
And the thing is I think that burden is important for you to have. And like in that moment, I recognize that. I say that facetiously, but also like that's kind of how I felt about this during this part. But I feel like that there was a part of this burden that you needed to have. There was a part of this, I don't want to say realization. There was a part of this that's like, because at the end of the day, it is that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
This is, we've talked about the impact of this issue, the roots of loneliness and everything that comes from it. Like, I think we are right to be aggrieved about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to be angry at the devil for what he's doing in the hearts and minds of our people, and to be angry at fallen world stuff for its influence in our church, and to be righteously indignant about the idols that we've set up in our church, to relationships and to, waiting on the Lord, and to all these sort of icons that we've created out of our own minds. Yeah. So I don't think it's wrong for us to be angry about that.
No,
right?
No.
but we can't fix it.
No, we can't.
But someone, I mean, the thing, like, somebody had to come to Jesus and say, like, Lord, the people are hungry. And he knew that. Like, he knew they were hungry. He already knew that the loaves and the fish were there. He already knew how he was going to accomplish this miracle and feed everybody. But he did wait on somebody to take action on behalf of the people and to advocate for them. So I feel like it's all right. Like, I feel like our need to speak up about it and talk about it and stand in the gap is right.
Yeah. A part of me wonders, because you obviously know that he knew they were hungry. He being Jesus in this conversation.
Right.
But if you really boil it down, it came down to someone saying, hey. And it came down to someone asking.
Yeah, I'm pointing out the need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Jesus was like, I think he was just waiting for there to be an opportunity.
Yes.
Because I don't think he would have let in that moment. I think people started like passing out.
Well, and what kind of miracle would it have been if all of a sudden a bunch of fish and bread appeared silently and magically in everyone's satchel?
Yeah.
Which he could have done. He could have prevented everyone from becoming hungry temporarily, right? He could have just made them satiated for 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, if he can make the children of Israel's like shoes not degrade for 40 years.
Honestly, the most impressive part to me is that we know from the scripture that there were men, women, and children here, and that for 3 days, parents and their kids were there, and the kids were not slaughtered by their parents for going, I'm so hungry, the entire time.
I don't know. I feel like there was a nursery section and there were some caretakers that were pulling their hair out.
Yeah. I'm sure the parents brought like a small amount of snacks that they were just like sort of giving to the kids.
And that's why everyone was starving, because all the kids ate all the food.
The kids ate all the snacks, right?
The kids and the dads taking dad tax.
Right, dad taxing. Listening to the Sermon on the Mount. No, but yeah, so like I think the burden that we feel is real. I think that the desire that we have to act is good. I think that it's important for people to step up and say, hey, there is a need here. I think we need more of that, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately the solution is his, and he already knows it and has it.
Yep.
And so this all kind of came together in my head in church tonight because I was sitting there. The other thing that happened this week is I put up, like there's the trend. There's like and like I'm really bad about like getting on the whatever reel structure is going live on social media right now bandwagon. Like I'm not good at staying up with those, right?
Yeah.
But there's one that's like really big right now that I thought, that's going to be a pretty cool and easy and effective one for me to put out. And it's like the whole it's like the there's always like text or whatever that's like sort of like a message from your future self.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's like, on this date at this time, someone's going to do this, and it's really important that you do this. That's like the trope. So I put up a reel that was like, in June 2023, your wife, is gonna sorry, I forgot to look at the camera. Your wife is gonna.
You looked at that camera.
I looked at this camera. In June 2023, your wife is gonna come to you with this crazy idea to start this ministry no one's ever thought of before. And it's really important that you say, let's go. Because that's what you told me. Like, you're like, yeah, let's go. Let's try this. Right.
Yeah.
And then I did that. And then I did a series of pictures of the couples that we've worked with. And it was cute. And it was really sweet to kind of see it all come together. I had a lot of fun doing it. And then I started to get messages from people who were people that I included in that reel, right? Like some of the couples. And I already knew about 2 synchrony babies. But I learned about 2 more synchrony babies.
Oh, the babies.
Oh, the babies. From that conversation. So these are right now, they're all pregnancies within our group of couples. Not all of them were couples that, I'm not going to go into all the details. I'm trying to preserve everyone's anonymity here because I don't want to out anybody's pregnancy because, different stages and phases, and you got to be careful with stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
sure.
There's a handful of people that are expecting now.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that in church, and I was like, I don't know how to solve the 40,000 problem, but I now know that it's only a 3,996 problem right now. he's already, because mine is 4.
I know, but you said
I said 3,000.
You said
Sorry.
3,000.
39,000.
That's 10%, baby.
39,996.
There you go.
Math.
Nailed it.
Thank you. 39,996.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, like he's already started the work. And again, like our goal here is not to tell everyone to go have a bunch of babies. Like we're not like.
I mean, you could.
Okay. So our goal here is not to
more than 2.5.
Okay. We're not here to advocate for big families or like trad wifery or whatever, right? Have as many kids as you want and feel called to have and as many as whatever, all the things. But it just
more than China.
Stephen, stop saying things. Actually, China's where all the men are. So wildly, sorry, tangent. Wildly,
because they kill all the women.
They did. So don't laugh. They did. It was terrible.
I know.
There was the one.
Sorry.
If you don't know about this, so China had a one-child policy for years. That was that a family could only have a certain number of children, and so because of that, and because of sexism and patriarchy, male children were prioritized over female children, and many people would abandon or abort their female infants.
Yeah.
So there is a huge number of men and who have no potential partners. So if in case we needed more motivation to carry the message into mainland China, which I know is challenging, there it is.
That's where all the husbands are, ladies.
It's terrible.
Start learning your Mandarin.
Yeah. Mandarin Cantonese, I'm telling you. Anywho, so all jokes aside, we do believe that the gospel is getting to mainland China, by the way. Like, that's not a joke.
That's
but
right.
The jokes about flirting to converting just Chinese husbands, that is definitely a joke. That's anyway. I mean, I wouldn't. Never mind. Okay, we're moving on. My point. We got to stop before this spirals. My point is that the thing that I'm coming away with, the hope that I'm coming away with, is that
lots of Chinese babies.
Stephen, I need you to stop saying random stuff into the microphone that I'm going to not be able to edit around. And that's ever so slightly offensive.
Ever so slightly.
Okay. My point. Oh, wait. Okay. My point is that I feel like we have been given the privilege of seeing how big the problem is.
Yeah.
Thanks be to God.
Yeah.
Right. Us and all the other people that are thinking about this are seeing the problem for what it is and starting to say, Lord, the people are hungry. Lord, the people are hungry and we don't have much food in the camp. Right. And that is good. That is right. And it is also right that lack is going to be the context of his miracle. It is not our job to close the gap. It is our job to point out the need of the people and make our offering available to him. And he is going to yield the increase. And I believe that that's coming in the form of our guys returning to the church. I believe that's coming in the form of evangelism to single men. I believe that's coming in the form of just an absolute revival among the young men that are in the church, of higher retention. I believe that's coming in prodigals coming home and restoration from addiction and all kinds of forces that are working right now to bring a better balance into the church and to restore that opportunity for growth. And one of the things that stuck with me when I was doing this analysis was that I was kind of playing out these scenarios with Brother ChatGPT of like, okay, so like what happens if this trend continues over a few generations, right? And it was really depressing because it was like, okay, after like, I think it was like 3 generations from now, if nothing changes, if all the trends stay the same, all the percentages stay the same, then half the churches in North America end up with 50 people or less.
Yeah.
Right. And we end up closing a bunch of churches. And that's a terrible thing to think about because our church, the number of our churches has been growing at a small but important rate.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
But it would only take 2 men per church every year staying and establishing a family. to completely reverse that trend and put us on a direction of growth again.
Of like childbearing year families.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they have to be
Right.
producing. Yeah.
Well, so two men coming in and providing, not necessarily, it's basically just two men coming in and offsetting that deficit,
Yeah.
right? Taking into account the same fertility rates, the same fertility rate declines, the same whatever, like two men coming in and establishing families in the church, in every church, every year, right? So
Yeah.
2 guys per year.
Per church.
To reverse this trend over the next decade.
Yeah.
That's wild to think about.
But then once you get past that decade, now you're going in a positive direction.
Right. And the growth that we're seeing, the revival.
That's only 2 men.
Right. And that's not counting the fact that we're having incredible outbreaks of revival in the church right now in North America. It's so exciting to see.
And outside North America.
Outside of North America for sure. And we've been growing in other countries and lots of places for years at a very, very high rate. But we're seeing this like wave of revivals across the country right now, which is incredible. I'm just believing that God is already dividing the loaves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's already happening. And it's not all going to come from synchrony, and it's not all going to come from the work that we do. We are one of many voices going, Lord, the people are hungry. Lord, the people are hungry. And we're going to keep doing that. And we're going to keep talking to leaders. And we have lots of plans for how we're going to do that next year. And in the meantime, we're going to keep matching as many people as we can match. And we're going to go to weddings and we're going to celebrate with people. And it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And he's already doing it. So I am hopeful.
I am too. More men and more babies.
Yeah.
That should be the name. More men and more babies.
More men and more babies. Yes. Anyway.
Or all the babies. Should be the name of the title.
I feel like this whole podcast is going to come across. I feel like somebody could pick this up and just clip all the wrong sound bites together and it become one of those really creepy, like ultra conservative, like
and they're all gonna be clips of me just saying stupid stuff.
Yeah, about going and stealing men from China apparently.
I'd say stealing. We'll be losing people over to China. It's okay. I'm families. All the babies.
Okay. Anyway, we'll set aside the current complexities of having the gospel in China or bringing people from China to here for the time being. We don't know enough about that to talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love you.
I love you too. Before we sign off of this, what is quickly becoming a completely unhinged podcast episode, a couple of things that are going on right now. Our sale is happening right now through the end of the year.
That's right.
50% off for the ladies. Our guys are still doing the freemium.
That's right.
And I am meeting some more guys. It's pretty exciting. So we've had a small wave of gentlemen coming in over the past couple of weeks, which has been delightful.
Yeah.
Lovely people. So excited about that. Ladies, just as a reminder, this is kind of the last chance for a while to get into the pipeline because you want to explain what we're doing in the spring?
Yeah. So we are closing the pipeline at the new year for women, to women, because we are going to be focusing our targeted marketing for our clients that are currently in our pipeline.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at where they live, their ages, the kind of partner they're looking for, and figuring out how we can strategically mobilize to people in those areas or who are located in the right places and in the right stage of life. And so we're going to be doing some more of a detailed data dive in the spring.
Yeah, that. And we're also going to be basically, because we have a decent amount of clients that are not able to move, which is a limiting, it's not a limiting factor, but it's one of those things. It's like, it does make it more difficult. Right. And so we want to be able to focus on the clients that we do currently have and start focusing on maybe neighboring communities or churches or maybe neighboring states, but basically saying like getting connected with pastors, getting connected with ministry and leadership and saying, hey, here's our services. Here's what we have available. I need you to tell your men and women about this.
Right.
Mostly men until we can open up our pipeline of women to see if there are going to be people available, people that you haven't been able to reach out to or talk to.
I did get a question that I do want to clarify here really quickly. So a few people have asked me, like they've been clients in the past, but they've paused their subscription either because they just needed to take a break for financial reasons or because they had met someone and were kind of exploring that. They're like, hey, if I don't subscribe before the end of the year, am I going to be in trouble? And my response to that is, if you have been a client of ours in the past and you want to rejoin the pipeline, I'm okay with that, even while we're doing that data dive, because we already have the data on them. We already have their intake process. We're not going to have to go through all the time of getting them back up to speed, which is really what we're trying to save.
Yeah, we're trying to save time of not doing as many consultations for women.
Right. We're trying
so that way we can spend that limited amount of time that we do have to focus on this on trying to market to get more men.
Marketing and getting our guys in. So if you are a returning client, I'm going to go just say it's totally fine if you need to return after the new year.
Yeah.
But for new clients, if you have never worked with us before and you want to get your consultation done, ladies, you got between now and the end of the year to make that happen.
Which is only 3 weeks away.
Right. And for clarity, that just means you have to purchase and book your consultation. If you end up having to schedule it in January, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we're going to be more or less closing down the avenue for women to sign up at the end of the year.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that shift, and I'm looking forward to everything we're going to learn from that. And I think it's going to be really valuable. Any other announcements?
You already mentioned the cruise.
We do have the cruise happening in February. I have an email that's pending to get out to all of our folks, kind of giving you an update about what to expect, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
I'm already very excited.
I'm excited for all the ice cream.
Yeah. If you are attending the cruise and you're like, where do I go? Make sure you've downloaded the Royal Caribbean app. And they'll already have your itinerary in there. And so you can start to see like what the time schedule looks like, when we're going to be in different ports. I'll send out some information about that coming up shortly. But if you would like to go on the cruise in February, there's still room on the boat. So reach out to Chelsea. Her information is down below and she can get you set up with that. You will have to pay the whole cruise amount up front. So if you want to gift that, if you are a very generous person and you want to gift someone a cruise, or if you and a bestie want to go in together and treat yourselves to a Christmas gift, that's a great way to do it.
That's right.
Okay. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for putting up with my angst over the past couple of months and my sackcloth and ashes and weeping and gnashing of teeth and stuff.
It's okay. That's what I signed up for. I mean, It's going to take a while to clean up the ash, but...
all over the house.
Yeah, all over the place.
Just a little late. I just leave a trail. I'm like Pigpen in the Peanuts comics. I'm just like a little dusty, little dust bunny just rolling around.
Yeah.
No, but I do appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem.
I love you.
I love you too.
I hope you all have a wonderful week.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say something else.